metropolis of Hangzhou, a kaleidoscope of 21st century construction. But beyond the buildings, there's much more than a cursory nod to old China. 7,000 years of history all adds up to a perfect combination of contrast. It's day one of the 2023 HSBC BWF World Tour Finals at the stunning Olympic Sports Centre. Big names, big money, quite simply, one of the biggest events of the year. And a warm welcome inside the arena that can seat 10,000. The group stage today, tomorrow and Friday, the semis on Saturday, and then the finals at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. You'll see everything live. First session here begins in a few minutes. It's just coming up to 10 o'clock local time. Second session from 5 p.m. Here's our lineup then, kicking off with the world #1 woman, and Ga Eun, still just 21 and chasing a 20th World Tour title. Then we switch to doubles. Japanese pair Matsuyama and Shida have won 3 tournaments this year, and they haven't lost to their Thai opponents since 2019. The men are up next. Olympic bronze medalists Chia and So against ex-world champions Hoki and Kobayashi. The Japanese lead the head-to-head 6-2. Then, arguably the match of the session, Chen and Jia, ranked 1 in the world, take on Lu and Tan. The youngsters have been a revelation this season, and they knocked their fellow countrywomen out of the French Open in October. And we conclude our first session with another women's doubles, and it should be close. Matsumoto and Nagahara just 1 spot ahead of Rahayu and Ramadanti in the latest rankings. Second session starts at 5 o'clock. Jill Clark, Steen Pedersen guiding you through those matches. Sense of anticipation here ahead of the start of this competition in just a few minutes time. Remember, you've got a choice of courts, full coverage of court 2 as well for you this week. Every single match will be live. Against her fellow countrywoman, Kim Ga Eun. One of the most recognisable faces in the sport of badminton. Mentioned she's still just 21 years of age. Just how much can she go on to achieve in the sport? And her fellow Korean opponent, Kim Ga Eun, who's 4 years and Ga Eun senior, but with it all to do, at least on paper today. My name's Trevor Harris, delighted to say Chris Langridge, Olympic medalist alongside me. Always a real sense of anticipation, Chris, on the first day, first morning here of action at the World Tour Finals, and we've got one of the sport's true superstars up first.
Yeah, it's going to be such an exciting event. I'm really looking forward to all the matches that we have this week. And you said, we've got the best in the world, and Se Young again, so her teammate, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Saw the head-to-head there, it is 4-3 in An Se-young's favour, which maybe makes it sound closer than in reality it is, because Kim has lost 3 of the last 4 meetings, and her last win against her opponent was 4 years ago. Mentioned that she had a mud foul after winning the Asian Games. And Se Young, she lost in the round of 16 at the China Masters. Semi-final in Japan was as far as she got there. She lost to Chen Yufei. But she is the world champion. She won that title in Copenhagen in August. One of 9 titles this year. 9. She's also a former World Tour Finals champion. She won that in 2021. The one concern, Chris, I mean, look at that strapping on her right knee. There's a lot of bandaging there.
Yeah, and it's so hard to know how fully fit she really is. I think the person, unfortunately for her, that will know best is her teammate. She'll be training, you know, day in, day out with her.
Well, here is Kim Ga Eun in profile, 25 years of age, she's ranked 13 in the world. That is the highest she's ever been, actually. Former World Junior Championship bronze medalist. It was back in 2016, she actually lost to Chen Yufei in the semi-final of the juniors that year. And last month was a big one for her. She won her first Super 300. In Korea on home soil. Also, she's got to a couple of finals this year as well, down under and also in the US. Sven Serre of Belgium is the man in charge of this one, and he will be assisted
Ready to play
by Simon U Man Fung of Hong Kong. Mentioned there's massive money on offer this week. $2.5 million US of prize money. Singles winners will get 200,000, a fifth of a million for the men's and women's champions. Stand by then for the umpire introductions on the first morning of these World Tour finals. Well, there might be a slight pause. What's going on here? And Se Young, I think, unhappy about something on the court.
It looked like she was suggesting there was a slight bobble because of the way the mats come together. It's almost like a zip. And I think she was maybe suggesting it was just very, very slightly uneven. The tournament referee seems happy though.
on my right, Ga Eun, Korea. On my left, An Se-young, Korea. An Se-young to serve, level, play.
So the #1 woman in the world hits the first shuttle in anger at these BWF World Tour finals.
Service over. 1 love.
Just wonder, with one eye on that knee strapping, if An Se-young's going to just play a little within herself this morning. Certainly a potentially long, tough 5 days if you are even mildly concerned that you're carrying some kind of an injury.
Yeah, and I think we've got a few players in this tournament that either coming back from injuries or have been injured very recently. It's going to be interesting to see how it does play out, because you've got at least all your group matches to contend with.
Well, very positive start from Kim, and a couple of winners against, well, An Se-young looking maybe a tad tentative early on here.
Yeah,
Tentative is not a word we usually describe her.
Now, Kim's come out very aggressive, very dominant in the first 3 rallies. An Se-young, a little bit passive, not moving that quickly, not being that aggressive.
Five matches in 5 days, of course, if you want to win this title. I mean, it's not unusual. The difference here is there's no easier games, really. Obviously, the top players in the world here in playing the World Championships, and likely to have some lesser ranked players in the early rounds. Not the case here.
And obviously the group format is quite a unique thing in badminton. You don't have it that often. There's only a few tournaments, really. It's obviously a big one at the Olympics and European Games, but there's not a lot of other tournaments where we have a group style format. Perfect disguise placement on that shot from An Se-young.
Service over. 4-3.
I think it's interesting, the conditions, because it's obviously a very large arena, a pretty incredible arena, looks lovely, very modern, very new, but it's very warm in here considering. So normally in a slow arena, the conditions would be slower, but because it's so warm at the moment, it's slow, but it's not maybe as slow as you would expect.
Service over. 4-all.
So blow for blow at the moment between these two Korean women.
Yeah, I'd say it's been quite a cagey start, which you kind of expect. Two teammates playing each other, they know each other's games so well, train together all the time. I do think Kim, over the last probably 6 months or so since Indonesian Open, she has improved so much. Really showing that she deserves to be here. She is the lowest ranked player out of anyone here, but she's competing with world #1 at the moment, and some of the more recent results, she's played so well. As you highlighted, winning a big event in Korea quite recently.
Well, we're going to have our first challenge here. That was called in, and she had a pretty good view of that, An Se-young, and reckoned it might have just missed the sideline. So the first of the 2 challenges that each of these women get per game, and if they're right, they will keep the challenge. We're a long way away. Instinct was it might have just missed. But no, plumb on the line. So that will be just the one challenge left for An Se-young.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining. Service over. 5-all. Service over. 6-5.
It was the right shot there. And Kim just tried to play a little bit too tight. Great attack there, and this is the the integral part. You can see Kim's attack there. An Se-young was off balance, in a bit of trouble, and it's so hard to control the shuttle in that situation. It's so important to outmaneuver your opponent. Stretch them, twist them, turn them. Oof. Absolutely perfect from An Se-young there. Literally on the line.
Yes, and I'm just looking for any possible reaction when she lands after that kind of a shot with that knee. Didn't see anything there. It should be heartening for her and her army of fans.
Eight, 6.
Yeah, and I think, is An Se-young at 100%? No, but is she very close to it? Quite possibly. I think in the two more recent tournaments that she played in, Kumamoto Masters and China Masters, she definitely wasn't at her best, but she wasn't a million miles off, and she still played to a good level. And I think here, even when she's at 90%, she's still such a good player. I mean, we've seen how incredible she is at 100%. Even at 90, she's still absolutely phenomenal. I just really hope as a fan of badminton that that knee is not going to be a recurring issue, and it is something that it's just going to take a little bit more time to fully heal, and then she's going to be 100%.
And of course, such a massive year next year with the Olympic Games in Paris. Only, what, 7 months away, something like that now. It's going to drift wide.
10-6.
A little run of points here for the world #1 has put Kim under a bit of pressure for pretty much the first time in the opening exchanges here.
Well read there by An Se-young.
11-6.
Played that slice, just waited. She knew exactly where it was going and had all the time in the world. Plays this slice here, just waits, reads it. Not the best shot from Kim. An Se-young read it perfectly, and then phenomenal placement on that last shot.
No coaches, of course, during this 1 minute mid-game break because they're fellow countrywomen.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
I mean, certainly from An Se-young's point of view, with that little injury issue potentially, she'll want to get this done in straight games if she possibly can.
Yeah, and it's been a fairly quick start. We're roughly at the 10-minute mark.
11-6.
She hasn't had too many extreme rallies so far.
Service over. 7-11.
Snaps a run of 5 straight points for An Se-young.
Service over. 12-7.
And at the moment, the world number one being helped by a few errors from her opponent. Unforced errors. And there's another one.
13-7.
It's so important for Kim to, she can't force it. She can't try and win the point in a cheap way because An Se-young's so consistent, so solid. Can't give her any cheap freebies. It's almost frustration there slightly from Kim in regards to she's kind of running out of ideas slightly. She's getting the attack, she's working the rallies, but she's not managing to get through the defense of An Se-young. And then these mistakes are creeping in and the lead's then growing. It makes the challenge even tougher.
Misjudgment there, that was in by a big margin.
8-14.
I think for Kim, it's before the event, you would ideally want her to come in and feel free, and by that I mean she's got no real pressure. She's the the lowest ranked on paper out of all the lady singles players, and qualifying for this event is massive for her because she has to stay top 16 in the world to try and qualify for Olympics as the second player from South Korea, and by getting these points, by just qualifying, the points are pretty big, which gives her that opportunity. It's much easier to say that than do that because she still wants to compete and she can, but she puts too much pressure or almost tries too hard to win the point or force the point, which you've seen a little bit so far in this match. It just gives your opponent those points, and I mean that was such a good rally from her there. Yeah,
beautiful touch for that winner. 6,600 points just for finishing bottom of the group here, so yeah, it's huge.
Another well-worked rally by Kim. 14. And that, as we just said there, even if Kim was to lose all her matches here, because of the points, her world ranking would increase by over 2,000 points. That's how important the points are for her. And being 13 in the world, it just gives her that little bit extra to stay top 16.
Well, it was in the hitting zone, but it still had to be hit.
14.
And a little mini revival here from Kim.
Yeah, I think here, An Se-young, she just guesses the wrong way. Because I wouldn't say the smash was that accurate. I think it was just a rare case of misjudgment from An Se-young. I think her lift also was a little bit short.
Yeah. Yeah, replay showed, didn't it? Kind of almost from mid-court when she hit that.
12-14.
And An Se-young will know that Kim is not a player you can take liberties against. Suddenly right back in this. The world number 13.
13-14.
That was a present.
If you think it felt like a second ago, it was 14-7, right back to 14-13.
Well,
14 all.
a little bit of good fortune never hurts, but you just wonder if that's going to be a pivotal moment. Net cord favouring Kim.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite rare to happen, and a lot of luck there. But to continue this incredible run of 7 points.
On the line.
15-14.
Well, what's going on here? 8 points in a row for Kim, who's now got a nose in front in this opening game.
And this is the thing, momentum, how it shifted. An Se Young looked like kind of in control at 14-7, a few points, 1 or 2 cheap mistakes from An Se Young, and all of a sudden, Kim now looking very, very good.
That was a chance. She knows it.
Service over. 15 all. Sixteen, 15.
It's incredible defense
Service
there
over.
from Kim.
16 all.
You get to see this on the replay. She steps in,
record, please.
steps into that defense and plays an incredible cross block. Yeah, it takes that so early. Plays it in a downward direction. Amazing defense.
Thank you. Sixteen all. Seventeen.
Little slump
16.
of the shoulders from An Se Young when she put that into the top of the net.
Service over. 17 all.
So business end now, this opening game that's been, well, topsy-turvy to say the least. An Se Young way ahead early. Kim fighting back, and now we're deadlocked at 17 all.
It's a great shot there from Kim. Just held it long enough.
Service over.
Lovely bit of deception.
18-17.
Steps in there, just hold, and a punch in the corner.
Service over. 18 all.
I think Kim had An Se-young in trouble there. She was kind of controlling the rally. You could see An Se-young was the player having to chase that one down. Kim was there in control.
Well, now it's as much about who can hold their nerve as anything else at 18 all. Great power again from Kim.
19-18.
So that error of judgment from An Se-young brings up 2 game points for Kim Ga Eun. Would be 1 against the head after trailing 14-7. Game it is, 21-18. You would normally say a serious shock, but just wonder, with all that strapping on the knee of An Se-young, she's clearly not 100%. And at this level, all you need is just a slight injury concern. It makes a big difference. And this was the final point. Went long from the world #1, and a perfect start for Kim.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Kim. Second game, level, play.
So just going back to what I was saying earlier about no easy matches in this tournament. Tai Tzu Ying and Gregoria Tunjung are the other 2 women in Group A. So there's absolutely no gimmies there. Well, she did everything right until that.
That is over. 1 love.
Yeah, worked the rally well. You can see An Se-young's in so much trouble. And then An again. Quite short lift as well. Just couldn't quite make it. Just going back to your point about, yeah, the rest of the group, it is a tough group. And this is the amazing thing about this tournament. It gives the fans the chance to see all the best players in the world basically play each other. Just so unique for badminton.
Service over.
And if An Se-young does lose this match, she's under mega pressure. She'd have to win her last 2. always want to win that first group game. It just takes a little bit of the heat off. And obviously if you win your first two, depending on results elsewhere, you can sometimes get effectively not a day off, but at least a match that doesn't have a great deal riding on it on the Friday ahead of the semis and final potentially.
You're back in 2021 when Anse Young actually won the tournament. In her group, she did lose a match to Yamaguchi. They managed to go through and then ended up winning the whole thing.
3-1. Service over. 2-3.
One of the few really dominant points that she's played in this match.
4-2.
It was that attack there. You could see Kim just couldn't control it. It was too wide for her, and then very, very comfortable put away from Anse Young.
Service over.
Slightly uncharacteristic there, just a total mistiming of the shuttle. She also was in a good position. The court had slightly opened up.
Just a fraction wide of that sideline.
5-3.
Once again, she went sliding full length on that knee, and I didn't see any facial reaction at all.
5-3. Service over. 4.
Fantastic placement, lovely reverse. And this is, you can see Anse Young's in a bit of trouble there, taking that late, giving her opponent time. Short lift as well. Fantastic placement though. Kim's definitely been the more aggressive out of the two, and as I said, over the last 6 months, the amount she's improved is incredible.
She just doesn't quite look at ease with herself, does she, at the moment? Anse Young.
Nah, she's definitely not quite, you know, back to that almost unbeatable form that she was in. And first game, I just felt, it's not that she threw it away, but that lead, 14-7 up in the first. And if you think what actually happened, 14-4 after that, from being 14-7 up, which is such a big turnaround, that is going to play a little bit in your head in the second game.
No sympathy from Kim Ga Eun, clearly.
6.
Another explosive winner.
Yeah, and it's showing a little bit here. I think the best example we had earlier in the year, or even last year, of the second-ranked player, or even lower-ranked player, third-ranked, fourth-ranked from the nation. It was Indonesia's men's doubles. Almost every time the lower-ranked player, pair played the higher-ranked, the lower ranked pair would win, just because they know each other's game so well. And, you know, Kim, as I said, she's the lowest ranked lady singles player here. If you were watching this game and you didn't know their rankings, there's no way you'd think that she was the lowest ranked. She's played so well. She's controlled the game. She's dominated for large parts. Brilliant. That is an incredible shot.
Wonderful disguise.
8-5.
And it's hard because An Se-young, she's not really doing enough to trouble her opponent at the moment. She's just playing and she's kind of surviving. She's not really taking the game on.
Service over. 6-8. Eight.
And it's an interesting one because Kim's played a lot of tournaments this year. I mean, she's on 27, which is the most out of all the top 20 lady singles players. And it can have an impact, a positive or negative, in regards to, you know, you can feel so drained from playing that many tournaments that by this point, it's not that you've had enough, but mentally and physically, you're just, you know, you're tired. But I do actually think it's almost worked the opposite for her, as in it really has proved to be a good idea, because throughout the year I've seen her get better and better, and it's well, testament to her, but also to the coaching staff by understanding what she needs to perform at a higher level. And some other players maybe only want to play 15 to 20 tournaments, but it appears for her she can handle this large amount of tournaments in a season.
That is a really punishing schedule, those there. Playing every 2 weeks. She's missed that one, pulled that some way wide.
And that's the thing, and you think realistically to fit the training in and stay in one piece. I mean, we've seen she's got quite a reasonable amount of strapping on the calf, but still not many pullouts throughout the year through injuries, which is incredible to keep herself in good shape, you know, good training throughout the year and keep her level to such a high level throughout the year and get better and better as the year's gone on.
Eight all. Nine, 8.
I think the one thing that Kim hasn't really had this year, or the only thing she hasn't had, is kind of a big win. And by that I mean being one of the top 5 or 6 lady singles players in the world. She's beaten a few very good players, but she hasn't taken one of the top 6 yet.
Ten, 8.
There's such a fine balance between controlling the rally, dictating the rally, being the player that's being proactive, and then just forcing it a bit too much. Just saw there with that last net shot.
So 5 points in a row for the world number 1.
Service over. 9, 10.
Going to say An Se-young did so well to get that net cord, but I mean, you're off balance. It's hard to control the shuttle because you can't tell the speed that it's come off the net at.
Astonishing reactions, really. albeit that she put it long.
Yeah, when the shuttle hits the tape and it stops, you have to give it pace as in to get it to the back, but it's so hard to know how much power to put on because it's hard to correctly evaluate how hard it's going to come off the net.
Well done. So she has a slender lead as they go to the mid-game interval. But she's putting An Se-young, the world #1, under massive pressure here in her opening group game in this championship.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Eleven, 10. Play.
Terrific rally again. And once more, Kim able to outlast a rather more decorated fellow countrywoman.
And I have to say, Kim's been the one that has been dominating the rallies just by predicting what our opponent's going to do, by taking charge, taking control, being more aggressive. Now, does this partly come down to two things for me? One, they train together, so she knows her game so well. And again, she's the one on the front foot in the majority of the rallies, and you know they train together day in, day out, so she knows what An Se-young's going to do. And the other thing is just a fraction An Se-young's off the pace for me. Not quite got the same, let's say, explosive power, or is it confidence? You know, whatever it exactly is, it's not quite there yet, but it's not over yet.
Recovered again, An Se-young. Very, very good.
There, Kim, she kind of had, she didn't have the rally under control, but she was dominating the rally and just forced that lift. You're not going to win the rally off that lift. You're just going to try and stretch your opponent that little bit more, little bit more until the gap's so big that it's comfortable. Fantastic shot. Brilliant reverse. Quite deceptive as well.
11.
See this again here. How deep's this lift from An Se-young? Okay, it's definitely short. Yeah, it's very short. Inside the front tram line. Do you think An Se-young is slightly hitting against the drift, and some of her lifts have been short?
No.
15-11.
And I would say now An Se-young's got to change it, because I feel like she's just relying on, at the moment, Kim forcing the point and making an unforced error. I don't think An Se-young's doing enough to hurt Kim, doing enough to take control and charge of the rally.
Good leave. I mentioned that Kim hadn't beaten An Se-young, or hasn't, because she may not yet win this match, but hasn't beaten her for 4 years. The last time she did was at the Syed Modi in India in November of 2019. Now we're going to have a better chance now to get one over on the world number one. Just long.
Service over.
Challenge, I think.
Well, I guess she may as well. With 16 points on the board already, just
Ga
in
Eun
case
challengers called out.
it did clip the line.
I think the other thing, it just gives An Se-young the extra time to think, which sounds, well, it can be a bad thing, because if you think too much, An Se-young, she's a game down from being considerably in the lead, 14-7. And now this one, she's 16-11 down. That almost, if you have too long to think,
Challenge
you're thinking about all these things of
One
what the
challenge
score is,
remaining.
it's not working, you're feeling the pressure. I think that could have been more of a tactical thing from Kim there than actually thinking the shot was in.
Well, clearly from Hawkeye, she wouldn't have thought that. Instinct, it was like a kind of psychological thing. That's long, and this time it's An Se-young who wants Hawkeye to check it.
I think this might be a bit more of a traditional
challenge
challenge of the line call. This is a big one. 17-12 or 16-13 is a big difference at this point in this match.
Out by a big margin.
Good call by the line judge. It's
Challenge
17-12.
One challenge
And it is
remaining.
quite incredible. 14-7 up
17-12.
to losing the first.
Play.
21-18 and 17-12 down.
Missed that one as well. And
18,
she's cutting
12.
a little bit of a forlorn figure at the moment. You can see that she's frustrated with herself. She's clearly hampered by that knee. Not able to perform at her best. And in this tournament, you really need to be at your best pretty much the whole time,
13,
because
18.
there are no gimmies here in the World Tour finals.
Also, Kim obviously training with her. She knows just how fit, comfortable, positive, how confident An Se-young is. And got to say, so far, Kim's played very, very well. I think definitely An Se-young hasn't played at her highest level, but
can Kim see it through?
that's the big question. Great pickup.
Great rally this.
Wow.
And she's 2 points away. Brilliant defence early on in that point from Kim. And she turned defence into offence in what seemed the blink of an eye.
13.
And there was a shot earlier in the rally that she got back. I'm not totally sure she knew she got it back. She did incredible. And then just worked the rally so well. So she got that really easy opportunity.
Kim. Play.
Just getting the hurry up from umpire Sven Sere. 2 more points required. That's one of them.
Drift's just slightly going that way. You've got to be so careful.
20, match point, 13.
This is quite incredible, quite incredible. 14-7, if you think after that, how one-sided this has been in Kim's favour.
That is over.
Still
14,
6 more match
20.
points for An Se-young to save here. It would be a very, very improbable comeback if she could do anything from this position.
It's important for Kim that she doesn't change what she's doing.
20.
just forcing that, just trying something too good too early. Just got to play the rally out as she's been doing throughout the match.
Sometimes the final hurdle can be the hardest one to clear. Still 5 chances.
Yeah, when you can see the finish line, sometimes you try and chase to it when you've just got to keep doing what you're doing that's been working.
(16-20).
3 saved, 4 to go from An Se-young's point of view.
Come on, play.
That was a loose one.
It's the thing now, she's just forcing it. She's almost, it sounds silly, but she's almost trying too hard to win the rally.
17-20.
The momentum again is shifting.
And the crowd feels it as well, and
Yeah.
that translates itself back down to the players, and this is not a done deal yet.
And it also intensifies just because for Kim, this would be such a big, big upset and a big victory. And again, and it's so easy being sat here behind the court, seeing it. She's forcing it, she's trying too hard to win the rally. She's almost feeling the pressures on her now where it's not.
5 match points saved, 2 to go. The women's #1 is beaten on the opening day, the opening match of the 2023 World Tour Finals. It is a fantastic victory for Ga Eun, 21-18 in that second game, having had at one stage 7 match points, and Se-young saved 5 of them.
Match won by Ga Eun.
Has got it all to do now to qualify for the semis, but take nothing away from Kim, Chris, who was excellent throughout.
Yeah, Kim, I'm going to be honest, she was the better player. She controlled the rally, she dictated. An Se-young was quite passive, slightly off the pace. Full credit goes to Kim there.
So a shock in the opener in the women's singles Group A, and Se-young beaten 21-18 by Ga Eun in a match lasting 49 minutes. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to put the spotlight on women's doubles and a Japanese tie battle in a moment. Well, a warm welcome back to Hangzhou, our home here for the next 5 days, inside the Olympic Sports Centre gymnasium. You can see 2 courts in action.